A receding hairline, nerdy appearance, and a super awkward personality.
She's shy.
This is quite the opposite of what we're used to seeing from Ryan Gosling. I mean, in the early 2000s, this was the man to be. Just 3 years prior, The Notebook had blasted him into superstardom.
I want all of you forever. You and me, every day.
He could have had damn near any role he wanted, so why follow up with the indie projects? Why potentially derail your career momentum? He had the security of charm and good looks, sure, but this is Hollywood. He's a dime a dozen. The pretty boy typecast could have and certainly continued to make him millions of dollars, but he didn't know it at the time, opting instead to explore more meaningful performances in films like Half Nelson and Lars and the Real Girl. Yet, one of these was a far bigger deviation from the pretty boy persona he'd so effectively capitalized on.
This character, Lars, is very different from anything that we've seen you do.
Are you hungry?
We're starving.
To me, this doesn't fit inside the independent world or the Hollywood world.
Lars is a reserved, antisocial, and essentially an all-around nerd. With his mother passing away during childbirth, he was raised under intense resentment from his father. His brother, who he now lives with, left the family as soon as he could.
I shouldn't have left you alone with him. He was too sad, it scared me, and I just ran.
Leaving Lars to fend for himself, to develop a fear of human connection and physical touch after years of neglect.
You going to Cindy's party?
Oh no.
To put it simply, Lars doesn't believe he's deserving of love.
So you don't let people touch you?
He's afraid of burdening the people he loves, and as a result, habitually pushes away anyone attempting to express care or concern.
Karen's been worried about you. She thinks you've got a problem because you spend so much time by yourself.
I'm fine.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't care for them. His mother's blanket is the last thing he has that connects him to his mother.
Gus says your mother made it for you.
Yeah.
Well, she must have loved you very much.
He treats it as his prized possession and often uses it to protect those he loves.
Could you put this on, please? I don't want your little baby to get sick.
It's the only thing connecting him to the one person he felt truly cared for him.
Do you have my blanket?
Oh, yeah.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
Yet, while Lars is seemingly content in his solitude, there's one major problem. He's soon to be an uncle.
Don't you want to be an uncle?
Soon to face the trauma of his past head on, soon to become a role model for a new member of the family. While this would be an exciting time for most, it's a reminder that Lars isn't emotionally ready to take on this new role.
You're a good-looking fellow, Lars. Where's your girlfriend?
I don't have one.
He's deathly afraid of repeating the neglect he'd faced for years. What he needs is a foundation. He can't just throw himself in a world he feels won't accept him. So he finds this opportunity within a blow-up doll named Bianca.
You know, Bianca's a missionary? Well, was a missionary, right? Sorry.
Someone he knows won't abandon him, won't neglect him like he's so accustomed to, and can't deny him the love he so desperately craves.
I wanted to tell you that you look really pretty today.
Even better is that he can essentially tailor every conversation to fit his needs.
Well, Bianca could help you, you know, she has nurses training.
No, she doesn't.
Bianca just said that that's why God made her, to help people.
Imaginary friends are a coping mechanism, how they'd agree and comfort you and be your voice of reason. It's more reassuring to hear things from another's perspective than your own.
That was that. I know.
If you weren't confident or didn't fully trust yourself, you'd look for that affirmation elsewhere. While Lars is an adult, he's still incredibly emotionally stunted.
He's a sweetheart. He never even raises his voice.
Unable to face the outside world without someone he knows will be there for him in perpetuity if he so decides it.
They're not real, so they last forever, isn't that neat?
Someone who reaffirms all of his beliefs and accepts his eccentric behavior.
Bianca's in town for a reason.
Lars is so terrified of human connection that he can barely tolerate normal day-to-day interactions on his own. He uses Bianca as his crutch to the outside world, the catalyst for him to connect within the community. When he arrives to the party at the latter half of the film, he's able to effectively mingle with a group of women, knowing that he doesn't need to impress or win them over.
Lars would never let her cut it.
I don't care.
I don't know, but she likes it. That's how I like it.
He's content with what he already has. Bianca allows him to finally fit in, despite his flaws, despite his social anxiety, and despite the past trauma.
Good morning, Cindy. You look really pretty today.
Of course, the community doesn't initially understand.
Does she have a sister?
We don't want anything to do with her.
Well, he's not worshiping her. They're just dating.
These young people have no willpower.
It's hard to grasp something you've never experienced at the scale Lars has. I'd assume they all have one or more loving and fulfilling relationship, and the majority can maintain a conversation without too big of a fear of judgment. However, it's shown that even seemingly normal people are susceptible to their own delusions.
Sally, your cousin puts dresses on his cats. Hazel, your nephew gave all his money to a UFO club. And Arnie, everybody knows your first wife was a klepto.
She wasn't.
Then why is she buried in a pair of my earrings?
And so, the community would grow empathetic. This is one of the most important aspects of the film, which is the need for community.
For a person who's afraid of being himself, which we all kind of are in some way, what happens if you walk into a world of total acceptance?
See, everyone wants a support system, and while some would argue that it's cruel to humor these delusions, it pushes him to leave the comfort of his own home and become more involved with those around him.
What you want in a woman. They stay with you because they don't know they can get somebody better.
But with more connection to the outside world comes less of a need for Bianca. One of my favorite moments is when Lars discusses Bianca's fear of marriage.
I asked her to marry me last week.
Congratulations.
She said no.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it.
As Bianca gets a job and starts living life more like a normal person, Lars feels like his grip on her is loosening.
We were supposed to play Scrabble.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you're away at your job all day. What's she supposed to do? Wait for you? Bianca has a life of her own.
And so, he asks for her hand in marriage. I think this is a manifestation of his own fears. Long-term relationships, especially in such a small town, usually precedes marriage. Lars essentially forces his own hand here. We know Bianca can't actually talk or consent to getting married. Yet, the more Lars grows comfortable within his community and his coworker, the more he feels like he's missing out on something real.
When will it be over?
When he doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah, she can't have babies either.
This manifests into his conversations and the rejection of marriage,
I know that she loves me, but I ask her to marry me and she says no.
leading to more arguments and a ton of self-doubt.
They never fight.
My girlfriend and I shouldn't have to check a schedule to see her.
Did I miss something?
We had a big fight.
Really?
Yes.
Given his fear of abandonment, he eventually finds a way out, one that doesn't involve her leaving abruptly. So Bianca gets sick, hospitalized, and soon after passes away.
And Bianca loved us all, especially Lars.
Bianca was a way to resolve all of his fears, a way to connect to something or someone without any judgment.
But it'll get better with time.
But there'll never be anybody like her.
He was afraid of rejection and afraid of giving himself to someone that could potentially hurt him. However, once these emotional walls fell, he found that he didn't actually need her, and almost immediately after her passing, finds the confidence to approach others.
Do you want to take a walk?
Finally comfortable enough to take a chance on something real. While I'm used to seeing Ryan Gosling as the pretty boy typecast, it was really refreshing seeing him in a role that utilized almost none of his looks or charm. I mean, his hairline was receding, he wore objectively ugly sweaters, and rarely left the comfort of his own home. However, it's easy to portray an image, harder to perform it. Thankfully, this is a masterclass in subtlety. There's a noticeable discomfort in the way Gosling portrays his character.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's just so dangerous.
This role seems far from the man he's become, but it's not far off from what he understands. From the shy discomfort to the manic breakdowns, there's rarely a moment I feel didn't fit the character. While there is an abundance of roles I feel didn't fully test his range, films like Half Nelson and Lars and the Real Girl showed that he certainly had the talent. Given his massive status and security within the industry, there's a strong chance we'll be seeing a lot more of it.